Hey everyone, it's Mariana, and it's time for another Game of Thrones episode recap and review. After this one, we only have 4 more episodes left this season, which is pretty sad, but we are definitely building up to some major events that will most likely happen in episodes 8, 9, and 10. As always, watch out for spoilers if you are not caught up on the show, because these recaps are definitely full of them. So season 6, episode 6, Blood of My Blood, is the first episode this season that did not start at Castle Black. We actually start north of the Wall, where Meera is dragging Bran through the forest away from the Whites, as Bran is having more visions of the past. At least it looked like most of them were from the past. It was kind of hard to catch them all. The most exciting thing there for me was finally seeing the Mad King, also seeing Jaime in the throne room, and what is most likely an inside the Tower of Joy shot. I need more of these flashbacks so I can learn all of the things that Bran has learned. Back to what's actually happening. Meera is of course exhausted, and the Whites finally caught up with them. Not as many Whites as we saw last episode, but maybe the children actually effectively blew them up. I'm not sure. Either way, just as the things are about to get really bad, a hooded rider shows up and saves them. Afterwards, he's revealed to be Benjen Stark, who went missing back in season 1, and he is now officially the show version of Cold Hands, which is a character the book readers are definitely excited to see. He explains that he was stabbed by one of the White Walkers, but then the children saved him. They stopped the transformation, so now he's kind of somewhere in between, and that explains why he didn't cross back over the wall to come back to Castle Black. I do wish they had him riding an elk like he is in the books, and he also has these ravens that he can control, but other than that, I think they did a really good job with him, and I am so happy to see his character on the show. Let's be real, Cold Hands is awesome. I'm also glad that they're going for Benjen Stark being Cold Hands, which was a big fan theory based on the books, until it got shot down by George R.R. Martin. And so they are not only following a popular theory that a lot of people actually like, but they're also not spoiling the books that may or may not reveal who Cold Hands is. So it's a win-win in this situation. I'm definitely looking forward to more from this storyline. Next up, Sam and Gilly are arriving at Horn Hill, where Sam grew up, and he's pretty nervous about this. He also did not mention in his letter to his family that Gilly is a wildling, so he's hoping to keep that a secret. When they arrive, Sam's mom and sister are actually very nice and welcoming, but his father is not there to greet them. Of course he isn't, though we do see him later on at this awkward dinner along with Sam's brother. Sam's brother is actually not terrible. He's not super nice, but he's not horrible, but Sam's dad is definitely a total douche. He keeps insulting him. He's not happy that he's becoming a maester. He doesn't think he's a real man. He calls him fat. All of that stuff. Not a nice guy. Gilly tries to defend him and accidentally reveals that she's from north of the Wall, which of course does not go over well. Guess what? More insults. It was really frustrating to see Sam just sit there and take all of it and say nothing. It was like seeing him revert to the Sam that we met when he first arrived at Castle Black. He later apologizes to Gilly for not standing up for her and for not standing up for himself, and tells her he leaves the First Light, but then shortly comes back and says they're going to stay together, so she's coming with him now, and he also takes the family sword, which I'm sure Sam's dad is going to be super excited about. I have to say, though it's nice to have a quick moment with these characters and to catch up with them and to see new locations on screen, that's always interesting in this world, but I really don't know what the importance of their storyline is at this point, unless they end up running into Arya somewhere around Braavos and helping each other there. I really don't know how they are relevant right now. If they stay on track on going to the Citadel, I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe it will make sense later, but right now, I don't know how this is important to the rest of the show. At King's Landing, Tommen continues to be useless and to be manipulated by the High Sparrow. This time around, he's allowed to see Marjorie, who is playing the role of being a born-again follower of the faith. I don't believe this act for one bit. I think she is just playing the game, saying what she needs to say to get out of her situation, and then we'll see what her true intentions are. I have seen her play other people before, and I think this is just another case of that. Later though, as the High Sparrow is making a speech about Marjorie's sins and her need to atone for them, the Tyrell army shows up along with Mace, Lady Olenna, and Jaime Lannister, and they tell the High Sparrow to free Marjorie and Loras, or all of the sparrows will die. I was so ready for a showdown there. I was ready for the sparrows to go down, but plot twist, the High Sparrow says there will be no Walk of Atonement because Marjorie has already atoned for her sins by bringing another into the light of the Seven. And who is that? That is Tommen. He walks out and the alliance of Crown and Faith is announced. The High Sparrow has outsmarted everybody this time. I guess we're not getting rid of him yet. Tommen also strips Jaime of his position as the Lord Commander of the Kingsguard, and instead Jaime is sent to take back Riverrun. It looks like they're putting Jaime back on track with the books, so I'm actually not going to talk much about this because I don't want to spoil anything for those of you who haven't read the books, and I do feel like this is going to play out pretty close to how it did in the source material. I am very excited about this because book Jaime is not only in a different place physically, he's also in a different place emotionally and mentally, and I think his character development in the books is better done than it is in the show, so I hope they finally are going to get him there. We just need to get Jaime away from the King's Landing toxic environment, and I'm also hoping for a Jaime Brienne reunion because they're both going to Riverlands now. Those of you who have read the books though, please let me know what you think about this in the comments below, and what do you think the changes are going to be like, because obviously the timing of this is a little bit different in the show, and also some of the characters' motivations are a bit different. They're going to have to change some things, but I still feel like it's going to be pretty close. Let me know what you think in the comments. At Bravos, the previously on Game of Thrones recap continues on stage with Arya watching from the audience, but before the play ends, she goes backstage and she pours the poison into Lady Crane's rum. Lady Crane does run into her and they have a bit of a nice interaction. There's also that moment when Arya proposes some changes to Lady Crane's Cersei monologue, and you can tell that this brings her back to her own plans for revenge and how she felt when her loved ones were taken away from her. And of course, after getting to know Lady Crane a little bit better and after being reminded of all of that one more time, she can't just assassinate this woman, so she comes back, doesn't let her drink the poisoned rum, and tells her to watch out for the younger actress because she wants her dead. Afterwards, she goes to get Needle, and as I was hoping for after the last episode, she is definitely not no one. She is back to being Arya Stark, and I'm thinking we're gonna see some revenge soon. Is this fan service? Maybe, but I like it. Also, apparently the waif was spying backstage as well, and she goes back to Sexy Jesus and tells him that Arya has failed. And as we remember, one way or another, a face is going to be added to the hall. So Arya is now pretty much on the run. She is the agent gone rogue, essentially. And somehow I doubt the waif is going to pay attention to the whole don't make her suffer thing. But I have confidence in Arya. She's going to take that girl down. This actually made me really excited for Arya's storyline. Finally, I just think that she can do much more interesting things rather than just being an assassin for hire. And as I mentioned last week, Arya's character doesn't strike me as a character who would just simply blindly follow orders. Arya has never done very well with rules and doing what she's told, so I'm glad they're not keeping her at the House of Black and White forever. Unfortunately, that probably means we won't be seeing a lot of sexy Jesus after Arya is done with the waif, but he has kind of been stuck doing the same thing for a while now too, so I liked his character way more in season 2 anyways. I guess I'll just get over it, but either way, I'm very excited to see what happens with Arya next. We also get a quick scene at the Twins and see the person nobody missed, Walder Frey. If you were excited to see Walder Frey, I'm worried about you. This character is just as nasty as I remember him to be, and I just wish he would die already. He sends men to take back a river run because apparently this is the hot location that everybody is going to now. And we also find out that he has been keeping Edmure Tully prisoner this whole time since the Red Wedding. Once again, I am not going to talk much about this because I feel like I have a pretty good idea of where this is going, along with all of the other book readers, because of the way things played out in the Feast for Crows. So I'm going to keep it to myself because of possible future show events spoilers. But yeah, the Freys are nasty people and I just don't want to see them ever. And lastly, Daenerys is taking the Dothraki back to Meereen. She stops to consider how is she even going to get all of these people to Westeros, which is a pretty good question, but at that moment the show decides to telegraph Euron's plan from the last episode because guess what? 1,000 ships is right about what she needs. Side note, I really hope they don't have those ships ready to go in a few episodes because that would be pretty ridiculous. A fleet that size would take a while, a long time to build, especially considering that the Iron Islands don't really have that many trees growing there to begin with. So unless they have a freaking wizard somewhere in there, they really need to take at least a season to build this fleet to make it look believable. Anyway, back to Dany. She senses Drogon and she tells her people to wait for her for a minute while she goes to investigate. Then she comes back in, flying in on a dragon, and delivers a motivational speech, which, if you ask me, was actually pretty random. Did we need another speech from her? Probably not. I feel like her walking out of the burning temple was impressive enough for these poor people, but the dragon did look really cool, so can't be mad there. It did make me laugh a bit when she chose all of them to be her blood riders, which technically means that there should be a mass suicide whenever she dies, because that's how that goes. Blood riders are supposed to follow their call in death, and the only way they stay alive after his death is to avenge him, and then they can die and follow him in afterlife. So yeah, I'm sure the show isn't actually going for that. They're probably ignoring that whole part of the oath, but technically that's what she signed all of them up for. Just saying. Overall, a pretty transitional episode. I would say my favorite parts were in the north, particularly because I'm just really excited to see Cold Hands on the show. And also Arya, but mostly because of where her character is going. And then Jaime, also because of where his character is going. I'm pretty excited for the possible Brienne and Jaime reunion. I also kind of have my hopes up again for a certain character to show up on the show from the books. I think if that character with their heart of stone showed up, I would have a huge fangirl moment. And the things that are making me feel like I can have hope for that again, even though I kind of gave up on it, are first of all that they keep mentioning the Brotherhood Without Banners again. They haven't brought it up in a while, and they set it up back in the earlier seasons, but just dropped that storyline, which was pretty weird. They're also taking quite a few things from the books that happened earlier in the timeline of A Song of Ice and Fire and bringing them to the show now, kind of out of order. And certain things in Bran's visions also get me excited for this character. I just really hope it happens. It's definitely wishful thinking on my part, but I think they could definitely pull that storyline from the books and insert it now and make it insanely awesome. I'm just so excited for the possibility of that happening. There are also rumors of another character coming back who was on the show earlier, especially considering the title of the next episode. They might just merge those two storylines together into one thing, but I would rather that not happen because I just want my awesome oh shit moment from the books in the show. A lot of storylines were missing from this episode. No Jon and Sansa, no Peter Baelish, no Meereen, no Greyjoys, no Boltons, no Dorne, though thank the gods for that one. But I think most of them will show up in next episode, and we'll see how that one goes. And more visions from Bran, please. That's it for my recap and review of Game of Thrones Season 6, Episode 6, Blood of My Blood. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode, and if you are somebody who has read the books, please let me know what you think of those storylines that seem to be coming back on track with the books. I would love to talk to you about that, even though I had to refresh my memory on what's going on there because it has been a while since I've read them. But let's talk about it in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, if you did enjoy it, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and also subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I hope you're having an awesome day, and I will see you soon in my next video. Bye!